And now the frozen half-man, half-thing reveal. I particularly like that in this moment we don't actually get to see what the thing looks like in itself, in its own form. This beast was burned and then frozen mid-transformation. And like with the frozen guy who had committed suicide and appeared to be locked in a permanent state of terror, there appears to be a human half of this beast that is also locked in a permanent state of terror and absolute agony. We don't logically know yet what we're looking at here, but this image is imprinted upon us and communicates that the experience of being assimilated by the thing is hell on earth, unimaginable agony. And something I'd never considered before is that once the thing assimilates a person, is that person, the original person, completely dead? Or are they somehow trapped within the assimilation and are subjected to more agony whenever there is a transformation? I suspect being assimilated and imitated would be similar to the kind of spiritual possession we see in movies like The Exorcist. The extreme gore element is important here too. This monster is a bloody mess, but it's a frozen bloody mess, which is very unusual in film gore. It's like freeze-framed gore. Unfortunately, film critics took the gore in this film as supposedly being an indication of it being an exploitation script lacking intelligence. It was actually quite the opposite, and the gore prevented those critics from being able to recognise how brilliant this film was on every other level. The key role of the gore in this film is that it gives a great sense of physical believability to an alien creature so bizarre that without the gore it would probably seem silly. If you go watch the 2011 prequel film, which tells the story of the Norwegian camp, that film had the gore massively toned down, and the quality of the film suffers for it because the alien, in its various forms, ends up mostly looking kind of silly. That film lacked the gore, and it was CGI as well, making it feel too unreal. It's surprising how effective gore can be in overcoming an audience's sense of unreality. The Thing and Hellraiser are, for me, the two best examples of this paradigm. Each film has physical elements that are basically magical, but the intense gore makes those magical elements feel like the reality of flesh and blood. Once again, any kind of positive emotion implication at the discovery of some unique species is omitted because of the absolute ugliness of the specimen. It's like scriptwriter Bill Lancaster has gone out of his way to completely avoid having any happy, positive or hopeful scenes in this film. Another important point I want to raise here is to do with when a scriptwriter should opt for absolute realism or to take liberties on realism to ensure the story moves forward and remains engaging and entertaining. In this scenario, the discovery of such an unusual creature would of course trigger any scientist or doctor, or even any non-academic who has common sense, to take the logical reaction of avoiding any possible bacterial contamination that might be present in this specimen. It would be best to thaw this thing out in sealed lab conditions to contain any possible diseases. In fact, it's quite ridiculous that none of this team would insist on such a protective measure. But is that plot point actually important? We could have some alternate plot point whereby this beast is kept in some sort of icebox to prevent it thawing out. But then how would we get the autopsy scene which reveals that the creature has seemingly normal internal organs? In this situation, the sacrifices in the story required for that realism in terms of biological containment, it's too much of a sacrifice. The film needs to get on with it, and so that particular plot liberty is opted for. I also like the size of the beast here. It seems to be much bigger than a man, perhaps 8 feet tall, with lots of emerging limbs and some insectoid elements, both human and alien. And it's asymmetrical. We humans tend to have a preference for faces and body shapes that are symmetrically aligned. If somebody has an intensely droopy eye or a mouth that is tilted upward on only one side, the lack of symmetry tends to be striking to us, creating a slight sense of unease. The physical repulsion element, I think, is essential as well. It's not just about the pain of assimilation, but also the sticky, slimy wetness of it, like the person being assimilated is being dragged into a swamp. There also appears to be a sadism element from the thing itself. One face in agony, presumably the original human subject, and the other face grinning as if it's sadistically enjoying the absolute pain infliction. In terms of the group, there's no discussion about what it is or how they feel about it, but we do get a couple of them covering their noses, suggesting the beast stinks. Smell is an interesting aspect of this. Overall, we see a lot of gore in this film, a lot of slime, and a lot of guts opened, but because it's a movie, we can't smell the beast. But that extra sensory element is hinted at in this scene. Does it smell rotten, or does it smell like, well, some sort of alien smell that none of them have ever encountered before? This frozen creature is such a fabulous design. It communicates so many elements, and without revealing exactly what the thing is in a straightforward plot sense. We don't understand this beast right now, but these images are embedded upon us and will form part of our understanding as we learn more about the creature later. There's just one line to finish the scene.
Blair, I'd like you to start an autopsy right away.
And that line is simply a motivator for one of the next scenes, and actually there's another liberty taken in terms of realism here. Doc wants Blair to start an autopsy right away, but the thing hasn't thawed out. The full thawing out of a big beast like this could take days. But it's better to just move the story forward right now. It's decisions like this at the script writing stage that allows so much to be crammed into this movie in approximately 90 minutes. Lesser screenwriters could easily drag this film out to 2 or more hours, and without necessity. Right, I've spent a lot of time on this one scene, which only has, I think, one opening line and one closing line. But I do hope you can see now how well thought out this is. A great movie scene should always strive to achieve many thematic and plot structure points at the same time, for the sake of runtime efficiency and intensity of audience engagement. Now we have another one of those scenes that subtly communicates physical pain. Windows gets his ears blasted with intense radio noise.
You reach anybody yet?
A precursor of his head being bitten during his death later. And now we have a dual autopsy. One on the now presumably thawed out, half-transformed alien thing, and one on the dead Norwegian, with the biology chart in the background again. The dissection of the alien is very important. We've gone from frozen gore to squelchy, liquidy gore that's quite unpleasant to look at, further adding to the film's intense physicality and biological believability. But the scene also establishes the accuracy of how the thing imitates a person, not just externally, but internally as well. So you're not going to be able to tell who was an imitation with an X-ray. This scene is also important in terms of special effects. Later presentations of the thing will involve puppetry and internal animatronics. A major element of monster special effects in films is to pull the audience's awareness away from that reality and give the impression that the beast is fully organic inside and outside. That perception of the beast is thoroughly established here. Another very important but subtle implication of this scene, and very easy to overlook, is that this creature may actually be alive and awake as it's being operated on. It may even be listening to their conversation. Later, this specific creature will attempt to assimilate Bennings because it knows it's alone with him, and it likely listened to the conversation about it being locked up in this room. So if this creature was conscious then why wouldn't it be conscious now? I mean, it is thawed out. An important aspect of this is that this particular creature didn't feel pain in response to being dissected, or its pain resistance was high enough that it didn't even flinch. I mean, isn't it interesting that this scene finishes with a shot of its face, or its two faces? The question of whether this thing is conscious right now is very important, because if it is, then it shows an extreme level of cunning and self-control from the beast. I mean, you don't even see it blinking here. Thanks for watching, folks. This video is a clip from a 1 hour 47 minute study that I've just done of The Thing and released yesterday. It's called Story Structure, Plot Logistics and Physicality in The Thing, and it goes into all kinds of aspects of the film, many of them that I haven't discussed before and haven't seen discussed in other reviews. If you want that video, head over to my site collativelearning.com today and grab a copy. The link is in the video description. In the meantime, I'm producing some new videos on psychology, One will be on anger and revenge. You folks voted for that in a recent poll, so I'll be doing that soon. Most likely that one as a freebie. And I'll be doing another video called The Linguistic Prison and How to Break Out of It. And that one will most likely be a video exclusively available to my Patreon supporters. You can keep up with my work, the latest updates, on my Facebook page and my Twitter page. And I've also got a Facebook group, a membership group called Film, Game and Media Analysis. So you can join that one and get into some just casual discussions with myself and others about these movies and other media. Again, link in the video description. Thanks for watching, folks. Bye bye.